good morning, afternoon, wherever you are. This is Tech for Senior. It's September the 11th, 2023, and I want to welcome everybody today. It's going to be a great show. This is, I guess, it's fall now. We're moving on towards Black Friday and all sorts of exciting things happening this fall, which we'll be covering. We have a big show for you today. We're going to start with our introduction. Bob is here. We're going to be doing his security news update, and he's going to talk about Windows 11 backup, new feature. Hewi's going to talk about Windows shortcuts, and I'm going to talk about your new PC, purchase considerations for a new PC, part 2. I did part 1 last week. Ray's going to talk about RV Internet. And then, of course, we're going to have, Ray doing his outro, but Ray, of course, is off for a month, so I'll be doing that for Ray. We'll have our Q&A, excuse me, and then the meeting ends. We have our premiere video for you today. For those of you who have subscribed to our newsletter, which comes out twice a week, comes out on Tuesday and Saturday. If you hasn't subscribed, it's where we keep in touch with you. It's free, no advertising, and if you haven't subscribed, you can go to www.techforsenior.com and subscribe. And in there, we also publish the agenda, so you'll know what on our Saturday newsletter, you'll know what we're going to talk about on Monday. Today, I'm going to be talking on the Premier version. I'm going to talk about 2 new health apps that can significantly prolong your longevity. They're really great apps to have. Hewi's going to talk about setting up. Hewi's going to talk about telling your story with blush. Interesting concept. And Bob's going to tell you about how to set up crash detection on your Android phone. All this on our premiere video coming at 1/2 the hour. And then, of course, this Thursday, we'll be having our Tech for Senior Live. Remember, it's not a Tech for Senior Live isn't a Zoom meeting. Those of you who often come, you want to watch it. Well, it's not a Zoom meeting. You have to, we broadcast it to either our Facebook page or our YouTube channel. And there's a big button on our website. Just click that button and it'll take you to the right place. So if you try to log into a Zoom meeting on Thursday, you won't find Tech for Senior Live. Now, let me introduce everybody today. We have a few people. Bob's here. Bob's actually on holidays. He's traveling, but let me introduce Hewie, who is a real trooper. He's been struggling with a cold. He says he's not feeling well. He's full of drugs and medicine and stuff like that. But he still managed to do his show yesterday, which was a great show, and Drew and Tim helped him. So thanks, everybody. Hewie, can you at least say hello to everyone?
I can. Right now, I'm not coughing. If I start coughing,
great. You sound great.
No, I'm about 2 octaves lower than normal.
All right. So, are you feeling any better?
It comes in spurts.
Right.
When I start coughing, it's really uncomfortable, and if I lay down, my sinuses get clogged up. But other than that, I'm doing fine.
You're doing okay. Great. Bob, tell us where you are. Where in the world are you? You're traveling and you're doing your car traveling trip.
I'm currently in a little town called Mabin, North Carolina. I know that town very well because Alice and I got married back 63 years ago in that little town.
Is the place where you got married, the church, is it still there?
No, we got married in my my in-laws' home.
Okay. Yeah, I know that when Gail and I went back to Edmonton, that not only is the church gone, but is the hotel where the reception is gone. There's nothing left. I mean, it's all gone. So I guess it's part of the history.
Yeah, well, after this many years, there aren't too many other people that were there around anymore either.
Right, exactly. And Bill, you had a visitor this week. Who visited you this week?
I did. I had breakfast with Ray and Carol. They were passing through on their cross-country trip, and that was very enjoyable. They stopped by they arrived in Oklahoma City on Thursday evening, and we had breakfast on Friday morning. Great time. And if I may, let me add this. The APCUG photo contest is ending on Saturday. So if you haven't had an opportunity to submit your entries, don't forget to do so before Saturday. And also, with the run's permission, is that I'm in need of judges for the contest. So I'm going to put something out next week asking for people to be judges, and there'll be some compensation. So give that some thought. That's not APCUG paying for the compensation. I'm going to do that, but nevertheless, you will be compensated for judging the contest.
So have you brought up the thorny question of AI generated pictures? How are you going to deal with those?
That was in the rules, and it's a
You're muted.
You're muted.
that was mentioned in the criteria. So hopefully I don't think we have any. I haven't seen any.
All right.
Maybe next year we'll do that.
And Jim, so tell us about your new teleprompter. Are you teleprompting away there?
Yes, I got a new toy, so now I'm playing. I get to. Chris is not sold on it yet, but I think she'll come around once she sees how it works.
Oh, that'd be cool.
I have a picture. I'll find it and put it up there.
All right. Of the teleprompter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Is Chris there? Can she say hello, or is she?
She is. She can. There she is. She might be discolored a little bit because, yeah. There.
Oh, see, just move you over. That's perfect.
So trying to look up at this teleprompter thing here.
What's it telling you to say?
It's not. I just see your face. So, but that's fun. I mean, because it has your face in front of the camera lens.
Right.
So I'm definitely looking like I'm looking at you. Instead of normally you'd be looking over here at where the whole Zoom meeting is, rather than looking at the
camera,
the lens. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Most people think that a teleprompter is just for putting a script up so that you can just have a script in front of you so you can read or get prompted. It's really recommended that they put up a outline for the subject so you can have it up there. And with the way it's set up, I'm using the iPad as a secondary display, or actually my fourth display.
Pretty fancy stuff.
Pretty fancy stuff, yeah. So, it was fun.
Very good. Interesting. All right. I think we're going to get on with the show. We have a big show for you today. Now, Bob, of course, is here, but I'm going to be playing his security news update, and I will be starting that now. Okay, Bob, I'll take it away.
Here is my security news roundup for the week ending September 8th, 2023. WellStore, how a secret phishing syndicate targets 8,000 plus Microsoft 365 accounts. A previously undocumented phishing empire has been linked to cyber attacks aimed at compromising Microsoft's 365 business email accounts over the past 6 years. The threat actors created a hidden underground market named WellStore that served a closed community of at least 500 threat actors who could purchase a custom phishing kit called WellPanel, designed to bypass MFA as well as 16 other fully customized tools for business email compromise attacks. Read more at thehackernews.com. Ransomware gang claims credit for Sabre data breach. Travel booking giant Sabre said it was investigating claims of a cyber attack after a tranche of files purportedly stolen from the company appeared on an extortion group's leak site. The Dunghill Leak Group claimed responsibility for the apparent cyber attack in a listing of its dark web leak site, alleging it took about 1.3 terabytes of data, including databases and ticket sales and passenger turnover, employees' personal data, and corporate financial information. The group posted a portion of the files they allegedly stole, claiming the full cache will be made available soon. Read more at TechCrunch.com. Modern cars are a privacy nightmare, the worst Mozilla's seen. If you're wondering which gadgets have the worst user privacy practices, it turns out the answer may be parked outside. According to a report published by the Mozilla Foundation on Wednesday, cars are the official worst category of products for privacy that it's ever reviewed. The global nonprofit found that 92% of the reviewed automakers provide drivers with little, if any, control over their personal data, with 84% sharing user data with outside parties. All 25 of the car brands that were researched for the report, including Ford, Toyota, Volkswagen, BMW, and Tesla, failed to meet the nonprofit organization's minimum privacy standards and were found to collect more personal data from customers than necessary. Read more at TheVerge.com. Rockstar Games allegedly sold cracked games on Steam. In an unexpected turn of events, recent reports suggest that Rockstar Games, the renowned developer behind titles like Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption, had been involved in a controversy. It's alleged that the company sold games on the popular gaming platform Steam that contained cracks from the infamous Razor 1911 group. These cracks, typically used to bypass digital rights management protections, have ignited a heated discussion within the gaming community. Read more at ghacks.net. Is OneLaunch malware? Everything you need to know. OneLaunch has been trending in user forums lately after it appeared on a lot of PCs. The software presents a few benefits, but most users uninstall it. As per experts, OneLaunch can't be categorized as malware, but it's an unwanted program and falls in the same set as Windows bloatware. But anyone concerned about security, privacy, and discreteness should know the ins and outs of OneLaunch and the effects it has on the PC. Potential dangers of having OneLaunch installed. Data security risks. When any program stores data, there's always the risk of a breach, no matter how secure their system is. Reduced computer performance. Based on user feedback, the primary disadvantage of OneLaunch is reduced PC performance. Increased risk of infections from malicious software. Third-party programs can always result in suspicious files, malware attacks, and a wider range of security threats. Read more at windowsreport.com. Experts link LastPass security breach to a string of crypto heists. Taylor Monahan, lead production manager at crypto wallet company MetaMask, and one of the key researchers investigating the attacks, concluded that the common thread connecting the victims was that they'd previously used LastPass to store their seed phrase, a private digital key that's required to access cryptocurrency investments. These keys are often stored on encrypted services like password managers to prevent bad actors from gaining access to crypto wallets. The stolen funds were also moved to the same blockchain addresses, further linking the victims. Read more at theverge.com. Amazon will get slammed with FTC antitrust suit later this month, report says. The Federal Trade Commission is preparing a hammer to come down on Amazon. The agency is set to file its antitrust lawsuit against the online giant after the company failed to offer concessions to address its concerns, according to the Wall Street Journal. Amazon's legal representatives held a video call with the FTC on August 15th, a procedural step called a last rights meeting, since it offers the company a final chance to change their practices and head off lawsuits. Read more at courtcuttersnews.com. This week's must-see on my YouTube channel. Learn how to capture an image from a video in Chrome or almost any other Chromium-based browser to your clipboard. Please watch my video on that topic by following the link listed. Did you know oranges are a hybrid of tangerines and pomelons, also known as Chinese grapefruit, and they were originally green, not orange. April 11th, 1954 is the most boring day in the 20th century, as no noteworthy births, deaths, or other significant events on the global stage took place on that day. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration, thanks to Thomas Edison. Without goals, training has no direction, thanks to Natalie Coughlin. Just thought you might want to know. And that's a wrap of this week's Security News Roundup. Stay safe, stay secure, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye, and thanks for watching and listening.
Well done, Bob. That's interesting that you're doing it on the road. Well done that you got it done for us.
Yeah, as you noticed, the image was not exactly great. Neither was the lighting.
Hey, you're doing it in the car as you're driving down the highway, right? Anyway,
in the basement of my brother's house.
there you go. We do appreciate your effort. Thanks so much. And I'm going to play now your Windows 11 backup, the short video you did. Let me just play that now.
Windows is releasing a new backup. This backs up what you select so that it will be available to protect and restore when you go to a new computer. It backs things up to the cloud, and when you're ready to install your information on a new computer, just sign into your Microsoft account, and voila, it will restore all the things that you had asked to back up earlier. As you can see here, it backed up my folders, my apps, my settings, and my credentials. Let's take a little closer look at this new feature. This is currently only available to those running a Windows Insider build 22631.2262 or later. And as it states, when you first open up the app, we'll back up your info in the cloud so you can have peace of mind knowing it's protected even if something happens to this PC. It will back up according to your settings, your folders. And this is what I have set up. My desktop, my documents, my pictures, and my apps, my settings, and related links, my credentials, all of my necessary information about my Microsoft account. Once this has been set up, all you have to do is hit the button that says back up. Hit the down arrow here and you'll get more details. And as it says here, it backed up already the folders. It's backing up my apps. Now you control what folders you want backed up. So it pretty much depends on, because this is being backed up to the cloud, OneDrive. How much space do you have? If you have lots of space, you can select almost all of the folders. Granted, it will not do the operating system. You have to do an install of the operating system. But once that's done, and you signed into your Microsoft account, it will restore all that information. It's backed up the settings, it's backed up the credentials, which are your passwords, especially your Wi-Fi passwords, so that you'll be able to get back online. All of that stuff is saved. And the only thing still left to back up, which of course takes the longest, are your apps. That's just a quick look at the new Windows backup, which is a cloud backup, not backed up to an external hard drive. Stay safe, stay secure. I hope this helps.
Bob, that might be a motivating factor to move on to Windows 11, eh? Jim's shaking his head.
Well, it does make it easier, but I already use OneDrive when I do a clean install for it to bring everything back. So
Right.
for me, it's now making that feature easier to get to.
All right. Hewie, I think you're up.
I am.
Some simple, secret Windows shortcuts you probably don't know. Hello. I am filling in for Hewie Poplock. He has a bad cold with a heavy cough and a hoarse voice. These tips run on Windows 10 and 11. Copy text from a Windows dialog window. Running up against an error message in Windows? No need to painstakingly transcribe the error code. Instead, when the pop-up is the active window, hit Ctrl+C on your keyboard, then paste the text into a document. The whole message is copied, so you can extract whatever parts of it you want from the text dump. 2. Switch to the correct app window fast. If you have more than one window open for an app, you can hover your mouse over the program's icon in your taskbar, then choose the correct window, provided you can make out which one it is from the tiny preview. An alternative that's just as fast? Hold Ctrl and then click on the app's icon. You'll cycle through all its open windows. I now use this exclusively when flipping between two open windows. It's as efficient as Alt+Tab, but app-specific. 3. Open a new instance of an app. Turns out if you hold Shift while clicking with your mouse on a taskbar icon, it opens a new instance of that app. That is, running the program a second time or more. It's slightly different than opening a new window. For example, a second instance of Chrome lets you load a different profile while the first one is logged in. Or having two text files open at the same time in Notepad. You can middle-click on your mouse to execute this same command. 2. That's probably your scroll wheel if you have a modern mouse. 4. Make Windows UWP apps full screen. While pressing Win plus the up arrow key will maximize any window, it doesn't make the application full screen. For apps you install through the Microsoft Store app, aka Windows UWP apps, you can make them full screen by tapping three keys: Win plus Shift plus Enter. 5. Run apps with elevated permissions. You shouldn't ever need to run Edge with elevated permissions, but you can. By default, apps don't run with admin permissions, a security measure that restricts how a program can behave within Windows. For example, a password manager can't access two-factor authentication or 2FA hardware keys, like a YubiKey, plugged into a PC when opened normally. To quickly launch software with elevated permissions, just hold Ctrl+Shift while double-clicking the app to open it. No need to right-click on the program's icon or shortcut and then choose to run as admin. 6. Open a new window for an app. Every app on your taskbar has a number assigned to its position, at least, for the first 10. You might already know this and make use of the keyboard shortcut that lets you open apps, or jump to them, if already open, pinned to your taskbar. The Windows key plus a number from 0 through 9. But did you know if you hold Win plus Shift and then the number you want, a new window for that app will open? This one isn't universal. The software has to support this shortcut, but for those that do, it's a fantastic time saver. 7. Quick access to emoji and ℎ𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕟. Want to insert an emoji, or more importantly, a ℎ𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕟, into whatever you're typing? Skip the online search and instead press Win plus semicolon or Win plus period on your keyboard. It brings up Windows on-screen emoji keyboard, which includes a ℎ𝕠𝕠𝕠𝕟 keyboard and special characters keyboard, too. Windows 11 also gets a GIF keyboard and direct access to the clipboard. 8. Fix a black screen. Did your screen suddenly go blank, even though your PC was behaving normally beforehand and still continues to run? You don't need to hard reboot immediately. Instead, first try pressing Win plus Control plus Shift plus B on your keyboard. Windows will know you've encountered a black screen and will try to fix it for you. 9. Access your command prompt history. Turns out the command prompt, aka CMD, keeps a history, and you can call it up to see what commands you ran, and rerun them from that menu. All you do is tap F7 on your keyboard. 10. Open file properties instantly. You could right-click on a file to access its properties, but why go through all that trouble? Instead, hold down Alt while double-clicking on it. It's lightning fast. 11. Reboot straight to Windows troubleshooting menu. Sometimes your PC acts up, and you need to use Windows heavy-hitting troubleshoot options like Safe Mode, Startup Repair, and System Recovery. You can access them during boot by pressing F8 during startup, or more simply, holding Shift before choosing to restart your PC from the Windows Power menu. 12. Reorder items in a list. Okay, this one is a bit of a cheat. It's a Microsoft Word shortcut, though Google Docs also supports it. To reorder items in a bulleted or numerical list, just highlight it, then hold Shift plus Alt while using the up or down arrow key. Bonus: 7 additional helpful Windows shortcuts. As mentioned, a whole slew of Windows shortcuts exist. You'll see some of the keyboard variety get mentioned often in Best Windows Keyboard Shortcut Roundups, but lots of people still don't use them daily. Win plus Shift plus S opens the Windows snipping tool for easy screenshots. Win plus I opens the Settings app. Win plus X opens the Quick Link menu, same as right-clicking on Start button. Win plus E opens a File Explorer window. Win plus Home minimizes all windows but the active one. Win plus Tab shows all open windows per monitor. Win plus H opens the Windows dictation menu. Hungry for yet more Windows keyboard shortcuts? You can make your own. Just install PowerToys, a set of advanced utilities you can use to supercharge Windows. It includes a module called Keyboard Manager that lets you remap keys and create custom shortcuts. Thanks to ℚ𝕚𝕚, Senior Editor, PC World Magazine. For Hewie Poplock, thanks for watching.
And there you go.
I like your voice.
At least I didn't cough.
You didn't cough. Well done. Yeah, well done. Bob, I always remember the Windows period you taught me for the emojis. You know, what's a ℎ𝕠𝕟? I don't know what a ℎ𝕠𝕟 is. Do you know, Hewie?
Not off the top of my head.
I don't know what maybe
that's when you need one of those little things while you're sitting on a commode.
I don't know. Anyway, you can answer that in the Q&A. We won't do it now, but maybe in the Q&A. All right, Ray is traveling, but he's not actually in his RV. But I said, Ray, how do you manage the internet in your RV? So he wrote us a little a program on that, and so I'm going to play that for you now.
Satellite internet for the recreational vehicle. Yes, you can have it all while being on the road again. The number of satellites for the internet connectivity continues to grow. At the beginning of this year, SpaceX had over 3,500 satellites in operation. Their Phase 1 constellation consists of 4,396 satellites, followed by an additional 7,518 in Phase 2. And the next generation is proposing an additional 30,000 satellites. Additionally, other major players, to include OneWeb, Telesat, Boeing, and Amazon, are also developing internet networks with thousands more satellites. The race to space for broadband networks is today's gold rush, an executive said, and it's one that is being watched closely. Now we're going to talk about portable satellite for RV use. A long-term goal for SpaceX's Starlink system with their low Earth orbit satellite constellation is the ability to deliver broadband satellite internet to the most remote parts of the Earth. This now also includes the remote locations where some RVers like to travel to. And for proof, Starlink now provides a portable version for RV use. Now here's what you get for internet on the road. Starlink Roam, formerly Starlink for RVs, is offered for $150 a month. It's a pay-as-you-go service that can be paused and resumed as it is a monthly charge. Starlink Roam costs about $30 more per month than the residential versions, since there is more involved with delivering internet services to subscribers on the go. Now the satellite dish. There's a hardware purchase cost for the satellite dish. The standard hardware is $599, which is meant to be used while your vehicle is parked, which means you'll have to unpack and pack it up in between uses. Now the in-motion hardware carries a hefty $2,500 price tag and is permanently installed on your vehicle's roof to provide connectivity while on the go. Currently, this is available only in select markets. Now, the speed and connectivity depends on where you are. Starlink Roam provides a download speed range of 5 to 50 megabytes per second. The variance depends on where you are on the Starlink coverage map, which shows areas marked as high capacity, low capacity, or no coverage, and is based on overall demand on the network. Most of the Western US, Canada, and Mexico have high capacity coverage, while the West Coast states of Washington, Oregon, and California, as well as Florida, and most of the Midwest are low capacity. In other words, half the country is low capacity. Let's remember Starlink is still under active development and has a ways to go before it is fully deployed, so there is full coverage and capacity everywhere. The standard Starlink uses 50 to 75 watts of power, while the flat high-performance unit uses 110 to 150 watts. Now there's a new Gen 3 router available, but this is by invite only. In August 2023, Starlink released the new Gen 3 router by invite only. Key points include the Gen 3 router is compatible with all current models, including the original round dish and existing mesh mode nodes. It features Wi-Fi 6, a tri-band radio, 2 LAN Ethernet ports, WPA2 security, and support for up to 235 devices. The cost for the new router is $199 for those that have received the email invites. Starlink Roam now includes boats. I'm guessing the name change from Starlink for RVs to Starlink Roam is because this service now includes connectivity for boats. There's a 10 mile per hour speed limit for motion when using mobile data usage. Faster speeds require the metered mobile priority data plan. It is clear what Starlink considers motion at times can be unclear. For example, does Starlink expect RVs to travel down the highway at 10 miles per hour? The times they are a-changin'. Much of the information I provided can be found on the website rvmobileinternet.com. There was a time when using your recreational vehicle was to get away from it all, but it appears some of us want to have our cake and eat it too. For the record, I'll not be looking to purchase this equipment as I'm selling my 24-year-old Class C motorhome. I've owned travel trailers and motorhomes for more than 40 years, but now it's time for me to just check into a motel for the night when traveling. Thanks for your attention. The end.
Thanks, Ray. Hopefully he might even be listening. You never know where he's traveling. Thank you for doing that. I can remember when I started, when I retired, we bought a fifth wheel and we full time for 2 years. And it was, this was back in 2007, and it was a real challenge getting internet connection on the road. So it was a big issue. Anyway, we will, thanks so much for doing that. Now we're going to move on, and this is a video I've created now, and this is part 2 of purchase considerations for a new PC. If you haven't seen part 1, or you weren't here last week, I ran that in our show last week, so you'll be able to find it and watch that as well. All right, let me share this, and we'll see what we have today for you. This is Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. You're watching a video series on how to purchase a new PC. We're going to talk about purchasing a Windows PC, purchasing a Chromebook, and purchasing an Apple computer. There will be 3 videos coming out over the next 2 months to help you get the best value of purchasing a computer. This is part 2 of purchasing a new Windows PC. Please watch part 1 before this, as there's some information you'll need to know. I'll put the link above. Now, before we get started, I wanted to talk to you about another thought I had on monitors. I want you to look at my office and you'll see 3 monitors on my desk, correct? Well, there's actually 4, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. What you need to know is with a Windows PC, you can have 2 monitors. Yes, it's very easy to connect 2 monitors. And if you look to the right side of my room, you'll see a Dell computer, and you'll see that I have 2 monitors connected. And these are actually connected directly onto a video card, but there are many ways and you could connect these 2 monitors to a PC. Now on the left, you're going to see a 3rd screen. No, actually, if you look closer, you're going to see 2 screens, because you'll see that one of those screens is plugged into my laptop, and you'll see a smaller screen just below it. And that is, of course, the laptop screen. And you're going to say, but Ron, I don't want that little screen. I want to run my laptop with 2 big screens like you have. Well, I'm sorry you can't do that, because on your laptop, you have a small screen, which has to be considered the primary one, and I've added 1 more, and that's your 2, and that's all you get with your laptop. Well, not quite. There is another way to add more screens, but you need what we call a docking station. And I'll show you that because I have a docking station here made by a company called Pluggable. But this adds more cost and complexity to your budget of what we said was between $600 and $1,000. So in your purchase consideration, you need to think about that. If your real goal is you want 2 large monitors, and I couldn't live without 2 large monitors, then you better consider a PC rather than a laptop. All right, the goal that we've set is that your new PC should be somewhere between $600 and $1,000. So what we're going to do in this video is try and get you the best value for your money. So the first question you're going to ask is, should I buy a computer with Windows 10 or Windows 11? So here's the problem. Windows support is going to end for Windows 10 on October 14th, 2025. That is 2 more years from now. That's a long time, but remember, we've budgeted this new computer for a 5-year period. So what are you going to do in another 2 years when your newly purchased PC has to be upgraded to Windows 11? Well, many laptops and PCs cannot be upgraded from Windows 10 to 11. It actually depends on some hardware that you'll be required, and the parameters on your new PC. So that's the first issue, is you should only buy a Windows 11 PC. And my advice is don't trust whoever is selling to you if they say it's upgradable. I would only buy a Windows 11 PC that is pre-installed on your purchase. We're going to see a lot of problems over the next couple of years as the number of these older computers that can't be upgraded increases and won't get security updates after October 14th, 2025. So these are going to be refurbished machines. They're going to be on sale. There's going to be all sorts of people trying to get rid of them and trying to sell these machines. And that is a bad decision, because remember, our budget is for a 5-year machine, and these will not be 5-year machines. So only purchase your new machine with Windows 11 pre-installed. So what Windows PC should you buy? Well, let me tell you this. If you go to Best Buy today and you purchase any Windows 10 or 11 machine, open the box, it will run just fine. You'll be happy with it. The engineers that have designed it have done a good job. So what tips can I give you to help you to get the best value of the money that you're going to spend, and how can I help you make the right choice? The first thing that you have to understand is how computers are made. And in the diagram ahead, you'll see that we have a motherboard. Most of you know what a motherboard is the backbone of a computer. And on top of that motherboard, we put video cards, memory modules, etc. And that's how we build a computer. If you look at these motherboards, you'll see that they're fairly thick, they're very firm, don't move very much, and have a bunch of things plugged into the top of them. And that is how we build computers. Well, many years ago, they were able to figure out that you can actually put generic parts on these boards, and you can make them very quickly, like a waffle. You know how you pour that liquid in the waffle machine and you put the top down and it bakes your waffle for you? Well, we can do the same thing with motherboards. We can bake them and make them all as an integrated circuit, and we can stamp these out, thousands of them every minute, and they cost between 50 and 75 cents. And these are wafer-thin motherboards that you can put into computers, and that's how you make a $300 computer. The problem with these boards is they don't do heat very well, and they often crack with mobility. You'll frequently find these stamped motherboards in very cheap computers under $500. That's why I've set our budget between $600 and $1,000, because you want to stay away from these cheap stamped motherboards. You'll also find these in Black Friday sales. So be very wary of computers that are made specifically for Black Friday sales, as these often have cheaper motherboards that are very prone to failure. Let's talk about hard drives for your new computer. Folks, in 2023, the only computer hard drive you should be buying is a solid-state drive. The cheaply made spinning drives that are prone to failure are a thing of the past. Solid-state drives are more reliable and much faster. Now, in the budget that I've given you, you may not be able to purchase a machine that has a 1 terabyte solid-state drive. Maybe that's out of our budget. So you have to accept a 250 or 500 gigabyte solid-state drive. Well, that's fine, because most of the things we do now are online. The physical requirements for storage is less. And also, we can add solid-state drives as external devices. These are so cheap now, it's not even worth thinking about. The other thing I'd like you to stay away completely from is hybrid drives. You will still see some computer manufacturers using what we call hybrid drives, which are a combination of a spinning drive and a solid-state drive. They have a small solid-state drive that powers the machine up because they're faster. So it can load Windows and all your apps and programs quickly, and then switches over to a spinning drive for the larger storage. This is a very bad idea and was started a long time ago when solid state drives were very expensive. Because now they're cheap, that technology is prone to a lot of problems, and I would stay away from that completely. Let's talk about how much RAM you need for your Windows 11 computer. If you are a graphics designer, you know the specifications you need. If you are a gamer, you'll know that you need specific type of equipment for your PC. We're talking about the average user who wants to check email, do some banking, watch Netflix, and that sort of thing on their PC. For those people, 16 gigabytes is adequate. On the very cheap machines, you'll see 8 gigabits of RAM. That's not adequate because Windows requires about 8 gigabytes to run, so it's going to be pretty difficult running Windows on 8 gigabytes. What you'll find is that it will be caching a lot of memory to the hard drive, and that's going to slow your machine down. So 8 gigabits of RAM is not great. You should be fine with 16. For those of you who have a lot of tasks you do, maybe you do more complex jobs, then 32 gigabytes is where you want to be. For those of you who are real power users, you're going to say, what about 64 gigabits of RAM? Well, RAM is not cheap, and to add another 32 gigabits of RAM, it's often another $500. Is it worth it? That brings us into our next option. If you haven't purchased a PC for the last 4 or 5 years, you may not be aware of significant changes that have occurred, particularly in graphics card. A company by the name of NVIDIA has now taken the world by a storm. They've been around a long time, but over the past 5 years have really catapulted ahead and are the leading player in graphics cards. So much so is that they are a dominant force in the manufacture of new PCs. Now, they make a wide variety of video cards, some less expensive, some very expensive. What Windows does now is they offset some of its workload to the graphics card, and this can significantly increase the speed of your computer. If you are choosing a computer, I would encourage you to look and see if you can put an NVIDIA card into your budget. This may or may not be possible within our $600 to $1,000 computer, but I would like you to look at that because I think it is an excellent choice. It's also your money is much better spent rather than adding that extra 32 gigs of RAM and spending an extra $500. Put that into a more advanced NVIDIA card, and you'll be much happier with the money spent and may even fit it in your budget. I reviewed Dell's computers recently, and most of their computers come with an option for an NVIDIA card. I have one in this PC, and I would encourage you to consider that in your budgeting. Now, the last advice I'm going to give you is on extended warranties. Should you buy an extended warranty on your new machine? Well, I guess that decision sort of goes along with buying an extended warranty on an automobile and whether it's a good or bad decision. Here's some thoughts for you that might help you make that decision. The first thing is that most computers, probably 99%, work just fine. They're either dead in the box and won't run, or if they do run, they'll run fine for your budget of 5 years. Very unlikely you're going to have any technical problems with them. But if you do, is it worth the extended warranty on a machine we've budgeted for $600 to $1,000? The first thing that you need to understand is that nobody fixes these machines. It is most likely you're going to have to send the machine away. You're going to send it to a third party to have it so-called fixed. This may take a week, it may take a number of weeks, or in some cases, if it is an odd machine, it may take a lot longer. When you get it back, it most likely will not be your machine. What they've done is they've found another refurbished machine and may have transferred your data over or may not. You may have to reinstall all the data on a refurbished machine. Now let's say you have the machine for 3 years and at the end of 3 years you have some problems and you only have 2 years left of our budget. Well, is that really worth it to have that machine away for a longer period of time and to get a refurbished one back? I don't think, for me, it wouldn't work. So you have to consider all that in purchasing an extended warranty. And remember, the extended warranty is on hardware, not software. So they're not going to reload all your software back onto that machine. For those reasons, I don't personally think extended warranties are a very good value. What I do think is helpful is some services offered like the Geek Squad at Best Buy, where if you purchase a new computer from them, they, for a fee, of course, will transfer all the data off your old computer, decommission it, get rid of it, and set your new computer up. I think this is a very valuable service for people who actually don't do this all the time and don't know how to do it. I think this is a good way of setting everything up for you, and you might want to consider that. This is Ron Brown with Tech for Senior. Hopefully you've enjoyed part 1 and part 2 of purchase considerations for a new Windows PC. I will be having 2 more videos come out on purchase consideration of a Chromebook and purchase consideration of an Apple computer in the next couple of months. Be sure and like and subscribe, and we'll notify you when a new video comes out. All right, and we'll deal with any questions you might have about that in the Q&A. I want to thank everyone for, if you are over on YouTube, we're going to move into our music segment now. Ray isn't here, but we do have a music outro for you today. If you are over on YouTube, thank you for coming. You can still pop over and participate in our Q&A if you want to join us in our Zoom meeting. And I did put the link to the premiere video, so be sure and watch that. And also we might even see you on Thursday for our Tech for Senior Live. So I'm just going to end we'll stop the live stream, and we will now move into the Ray's segment. Now, of course, I'm not Ray. Ray's not here, right? So how am I going to do this? Now, as you know, Ray usually talks. He talks to you for about 5 minutes as he reads his narrative that he's done, which he has sent me. And I thought, well, I could stand here and I could talk to you, but I'm not Ray and I won't do it as well as Ray. So how else can I do this? And I decided to use the same sort of software that Bob and Hewie use, called Pictory. Now, and so this is my version using Pictory, but I'm not as good as Bob and Hewie are, because I don't use this software all the time. The thing that's interesting about this, and as we go through the first phase, and then I'll be playing the video, but as we go through the first phase, I want you to look at the B-roll, the images behind when I'm talking, because this was all done for me. It's all done with AI. Now, when you just saw the video I produced, I probably put 2 or 3 hours into finding the B-roll, the behind the scenes shots that you took a lot of time to find those shots. Whereas in this situation, this is all done for me. So it's pretty cool. Just have a look at it and see, this is how it was done. Anyway, let's give it a try and see how we do. There is one part of the music industry that has changed dramatically since the mid-20th century, and that is who writes the songs. Back during the birth of rock and roll, most large record labels had songwriters on their payroll. Perhaps the most famous songwriting duo that never sang a lyric was Jerry Leiber and Mike Stoller, who wrote Hound Dog and Jailhouse Rock, among many other hits of the day. Another well-respected songwriting team in the 1960s was officially known as FGG Productions that included Robert Feldman, who died last month at the age of 83, and Jerry Goldstein and Richard Gostischa. This trio co-wrote a string of hits mostly for the 1960s girl groups, including Leader of the Pack by the Shangri-Las, Uptown by the Crystals, and Be My Baby by the Ronettes. They are often credited with defining the sound of the 1960s girl group. As the 1960s progressed, the singer-songwriter became more prevalent with names like Carole King, Lennon McCartney, and Bob Dylan leading the way. Today, this is the norm, as royalettes alone for writing a hit song can generate a sizable income. Feldman continued to write and produce music in the years following. He was a member of the Songwriters Hall of Fame and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He was also the recipient of the Grammy Award for Lifetime Achievement. The Angels were an American girl group best known for their 1963 #1 single hit, My Boyfriend's Back. The group consisted of sisters Barbara and Phyllis Allbutt and Peggy Stengler. As was common for that era, the group's lineup changed several times during their career. As the story goes, Bob Feldman was inspired to write the song My Boyfriend's Back when in a soda shop he witnessed a tough-looking teenage boy verbally berating a young girl. While some might say that this song condoned violence with lyrics like, he knows I wasn't cheating, now you're gonna get a beating, just compare that to some of today's tunes. Trivia number 2, Bob Feldman graduated from Lincoln High School in Brooklyn, New York, and was a classmate of Neil Sedaka. A year later, Neil Diamond graduated from this school as well. Well, there we go. So I hope Ray's happy. I hope I did okay for Ray. That that was I know I can't replace Ray, but he's away for the next month, so you're stuck with me for the next 3 sessions. All right, we will move on now to the Q&A. If you have to leave early, don't forget in half an hour we have our premiere video going on. I'll put the link in the chat in a moment again. But the best way to get the link is to subscribe to our newsletter, because the newsletter, our Saturday newsletter, has the agenda for today and also the link to the premiere video. So be sure and sign up if you haven't to our newsletter. We'll open it up now to Q&A, and Carl, you've got.
Okay. There's only 2 things that really surprised me in music and growing up. Is number 1 was that a lot of the people that I loved, that was not their real name. There was their musical stage name. And the second was, like, I loved Frank Sinatra's song My Way. I would have swore he wrote that. Paul Anka did that and a number of others. And those 2 things, I never forgot in industry that it's not what you thought it was or hoped it would be.
Indeed. Thanks, Carl. All right. Okay. Anyone have any questions? We talked about an awful lot of things today. Oh my gosh, we talked about how are we going to remember all those, Hewie, how are we going to remember all those shortcuts? Like, I can't, my mind was, some of those are really good shortcuts, but
I know, I wish I could remember them.
I'll never remember. I finally remembered Bob's Windows plus period. That's the emoji one. I use that all the time. And Bob finally got me, it hit the brain cells, and I got that memorized now.
And I did put in the chat as well. Somebody else had made a couple of comments about the emojis, and what they are is short explanations of different things. There's a cat face and things like that using just the keyboard items.
Right.
They're Japanese renditions
Yeah.
of emojis in the form of a face or a facial expression that show you an emotion. That's what they are.
Mhm.
And the only way you're going to remember shortcuts is to use them.
That's true.
Yep.
The more you use them, the more they sink in, and the more you realize, why wasn't I doing this before?
Exactly.
I've
Yeah.
got the Windows shortcuts in a text file. I can put the text of that into the chat if you want, and then you'll have them all.
But unless you use them, you still won't need that. Won't sink
Oh
in.
yeah, but you
They're
can't
written down
possibly
all over the
can't
place.
possibly remember them all. There's way too many.
No,
But
no.
you just
but
go through them, and as long as you know they're there, then you can find out what they are.
So as I said earlier, a couple of weeks ago, I said that as we move into this fall, we're going to be seeing good opportunities for purchasing new computers. I mean, the economy is so, the inventory is high. There's going to be lots of sales, whether it's the next Prime event, it's going to be Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas. This is the big time in the next 3 months when most of the hardware is sold. Most of the computer companies sell all their hardware. So that's why I thought I would make a few videos to give people some ideas. Maybe you think about some things before you go off and purchase a new computer. And that was the goal. So those are the first two on Windows machines. And the next one I'll be doing is on Chromebooks. And probably that'll come out early October.
Yeah, one of the things about computers, if you remember back when, they were quite expensive, but they didn't last as long. And because things got updated very quickly, you buy a new computer almost every 2 years, where now it's 5 years. And so they're not selling as many as they used to. And that's why there's a lot more available and why the sales have gone down. It's not because people aren't using computers, they're using them longer.
The other thing that's a big issue is that most people buy laptops now. And if you buy a laptop, of course, you're limited by the battery in the laptop. So, and that's usually about a 5-year limitation. So that's about, the extent. So that's why I put in my budgeting is that you really have to look at these machines as a 5-year budget. Carl, go ahead.
Yeah, you were talking about emojis. I don't know how I did this, but it's only on the Tech Senior chat that I have it. I've turned on where you could do formatting and add emojis to your text. I don't know how I did it a long time ago, but I don't know how, but maybe other people would find that interesting to add that to the chat.
Yeah, in a Windows environment, what Bob showed us is that if you hit the Windows key and a period, that'll bring up your emojis menu. And I think that's anywhere in Windows. I mean, I use it all the time. Doesn't matter what I'm in. It works real well, eh, Bob?
Any app that has text input, when it's open, wherever your cursor resides, when you hit the Windows key and the period key, you select the emoji you want. The second you select it, it inserts it where your cursor resides in that text document. Okay, it doesn't matter whether it's just simply a text document or whether you're online and you're posting in Facebook or any place. If it accepts text, it's going to accept the emoji simply by selecting the Windows key and the period, and then select the emoji you want. And boy, are there lots of them available.
So is that how I turned on the emojis and editing functions and chat? I don't remember how I did it.
Yeah, just simply hit the Windows key and the period, and then you'll see a window pop up with all different types of emojis to select. Select the one you want, and as soon as you hit it, it's put into that chat wherever your cursor resides.
I do it, and all I get is a period.
You're hitting
Just
the Windows key and the
Make sure-
period.
Yep.
Hey, make sure you're using the Windows key, Hewie.
I am, but I have so many programs that use shortcuts that probably something else is taking over.
Oh, we had a question in the chat is how do we get to the Thursday show? And I think that's a good question. And if you haven't joined us for the Thursday show, please come along. We do have 2 shows a week. You're of course on our main show, which is our Monday show, but our Thursday show is not a Zoom meeting. You can simply go to our YouTube channel and you'll see it's a live broadcast. And we started it comes online at 9. Well, we'll call it 9 a.m. Pacific time. So it depends on what time zone you're in. And just go to our YouTube channel and you'll see us coming on live, and we have a chat and you can put the information in the chat. We talk. We have a really good time. We have a big following on the Thursday show. So if you haven't come and listened, participated, come. We had Jim was our special guest last week, and we talked about underwater diving with your camera, with your phone, which was sort of cool. And Jim told us all about his new equipment, and you're getting a lot of new equipment, Jim.
Yeah, don't tell my wife.
Very good. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And after this, I'm going to drive over to Best Buy. So.
Oh, okay.
And don't,
my favorite store.
And don't try it with your regular phone. I remember when I first got my cell phone, smartphone, and it quit working because I left it in my clothes in the washer. And I took it to the store and I said, It doesn't work. And he looked at it. He said, it was in the water. I said, how did he know that?
Right.
There's a little indicator on the battery that changes color.
For emojis.
Well, Jim reminded me, and I forgot about this, that most cell phones go down to 30 feet. You can swim with them. Hey, Jim, down to about 30. No.
That was the GoPro.
That was the GoPro I was
the
talking
GoPro.
about.
Oh, really? It wasn't cell phones? I mean, I should have taken my
phones.
cell phone.
Come on,
No wonder
man.
my Pixel phone doesn't work now. I took it swimming, Jim. That's not what you said.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Let me send you some money for that, Ron.
Oh, rats.
Oh.
Okay. That's the GoPro. Oh, all right. Okay.
But for years they had bags that you could get had a zipper and that were totally waterproof, that you could put any phone in and go. But I don't know how the depth
very deep
would affect it. You couldn't.
Those are still around, but as soon as you get to any depth, they're gonna mess things up. You need something that is sealed, and I mean it's still sealed from water, but also from pressure.
Right. And these phones are pretty expensive now. I want something that's rock solid, eh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, serious underwater photographers spend tremendous amounts of money for the housings and for the cameras that go inside those housings. They're really good cameras and housings with thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, my phone is expensive, but the housing was only $200, and I haven't seen anything better for the phone.
Yeah, and it was really great. The image quality of the what you did was great.
Yeah, the image quality is good. I can see still wanting to use the GoPro for certain things, but for ease of use and for ease of sharing, especially, just having everything on the phone, including the editing and the uploading and everything, is really kind of cool.
I haven't mentioned this.
I have to say goodbye. My battery is about to die, so I will see.
Bye, Bob.
All right,
Bye-bye.
see you later. All right,
Bob,
I didn't
good to see you.
I didn't mention when you were talking about GoPros. I went to a conference a few years ago, and they were recording the sessions during the whole day, and they were using GoPros that were set way back. But because it was a GoPro, they were able to wire it up and run wires up to the stage, so the microphone was connected to it, and it got really good videos out of it, considering it was quite a ways away from the source of what it was recording. So they've got a lot of uses as well. So.
Oh gosh, yeah, they're not just for underwater photography. I was using a GoPro as a webcam for a while, behind my do-it-yourself teleprompter.
Right.
So I had a separate camera behind the teleprompter that I would go to when I wanted to make it so I could read. But instead now I have my main camera behind the teleprompter because the whole thing is, and it's portable. Whole thing will go on, the whole rig will go up on a tripod and can be taken anywhere. And having the iPad as the second monitor. So I've been worried about taking my MacBook on the road because I don't have a second monitor for it. Chris has 2 monitors in her office in the back of the RV, but I only have one. And I had a small one when I was using the Surface Pro for my videos on the road, but now I have the MacBook and it's phenomenal. And I'll use the iPad as the second monitor, second screen. Cool stuff.
Yeah, you better be very careful when you're traveling though, because if you go in for a lunch or something, you got a lot of equipment in that van, in that RV, eh?
Yeah, our friend Mike Wendland got his equipment stolen from a van. They were just parked, yeah, as you say, for a restaurant. But yeah.
And they left the dog in the van too.
Yeah, the dog.
That dog had one job.
To guard the stuff.
Didn't do shit. Big dog.
It was a watchdog. It watched them.
Yeah, he was checking his watch to see when lunch was coming. That's what it was.
He watched them take it.
He watched them take it. Yeah, no.
All right. Carl.
Yeah, I was typing in some information for Drew King. There's a digital software that you might look into, Drew. It's called DroidStar. It does some digital formats, not the one that I use for Yaesu, but it'll get you going on some digital ham radio stuff. And I don't know why I was typing it into around my chat, and I got these goofy little marks, like dielectric marks over the A or something. I don't know how I turned that on, but I just typed it in there and I'm gonna do a send, so it'll be out there for you, Drew.
Thank you.
Hey, Carl, got a question. I have a Yaesu FT101. Do those still have any value?
Sorry, what you have? I don't know what is it you have?
Yaesu FT101. It's the one with valves, tubes.
I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know.
Well, it's 40 years old. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Carl is probably the one to ask, and it looks like he's occupied here.
Is he still there?
Yeah. I'm here. I missed the question. My mind was somewhere else.
I have a Yaesu FT101. It's about 40 years old.
Yeah.
Do they have any value these days?
Oh yeah, that's a very popular, one of the more popular radios. It's not digital, but it's one of the mainstay radios. I have a Kenwood kind of equivalent to that model. My Kenwood's at least 10 years old. That would probably be at least 10 years old, but you could do a search on what is it? eBay. Yeah. By the way, I wanted to ask Ron a question. Your stuff on how to buy a computer is ever so useful all the time. But what is the advantages of M.2 memory? Either you or Hewie or somebody else could comment on it.
M.2 memory is of course, Ray did a whole series on M.2 memory. It's faster. And Tim, did you got your thumb up? Did you want to mention anything about? Do you have?
The old SATA SSDs only have a maximum of 6 gigabytes per second. NVMe in an M.2 format, the minimum is around 7, and they go straight up a wall from there. The bad part is if you start getting into some of those, they can start generating a lot of heat. So you have to, in some cases add cooling to those particular drives because they're going at such a high speed to give you high performance. You can cook your dinner on them.
Thank you.
Very
Thank you.
good. Jim, I just want to ask Jim, or sorry, yeah, Jim, a question before we go. Your ring, you have, of course, the Aura ring. It looks like Samsung is definitely going to bring their own ring out, and they're going to talk about it very shortly. Comments on that? Have you been looking at the Samsung one? What's your thoughts?
Well, I read about it and I I kind of looked at it, but it's not something that, you know, if you're into something new like that, I would like to see how it works, but I don't have any inclination to get one and have another ring for my, two's enough.
So, but just to let everyone know, your ring monitors your basically bodily functions and stuff that would normally your watch would monitor, correct?
Yeah, it does a lot of the same stuff that the Apple Watch or the Garmin watch or yeah.
And it's made by a company called Aura.
O-U-R-A, right.
O-U-R-A, right.
O-U-R-A. And it's been around for a few years. They're in Gen 3, but it's a subscription. So if you get into an Aura ring now, in order to get a full functionality, you need to have a subscription, which it's not real expensive, but I was grandfathered in because I'm an old timer and I've been doing it for a while. But,
well, we'll see what the Samsung, how their ring works and what model they're going to use.
Yeah, there are a couple out there, but none of them have a lot of traction. Maybe with that name, it'll get some traction. So we'll have to see. But these things that track your activities and all your body functions, I think are a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. Which reminds me, don't forget to watch the video in 10 minutes because I talk about some health apps that occur on your phone and watch that are really going to save your life. So so be sure and watch the video that will be coming up in 10 minutes. I've put the link, the link into the chat. On behalf of everyone today, I want to thank you all for coming. We'll be back at the same time next week. And also don't forget our Thursday show. We'll be having a great show on Thursday. And to find out what we'll be talking about, watch the newsletter tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll of course have the newsletter out, and Bill will have his gadget of the week. Ray, of course, will be putting his information in our newsletter. And I'll be having an article as well. So we will indeed. So make sure you sign up for that. Until next week, have a great day, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, everybody.